You're going to move in together. You're going to get married. What are we doing here?
I guess the problem is I don't agree with how she spends money.
And I don't agree with how she wants to hoard money and not live life.
That's extreme.
I'm definitely on defense. It feels like micromanagement.
Say we got married, then I owe $379,000 in debt. My salary is not going to be able to take care of all that. We're going to be in a world of hurt. It scares me.
You have zero incentive
from her application. We haven't been able to take the next step in our relationship because we don't see eye to eye on money. It has been a roadblock that has almost led to a breakup. Today, I'm speaking with Cree and April. They're 46 and 48 years old. They've been together for 5 years, and they hope to move in together in the next few months.
that caught my eye. You said, she's a spender and I'm a saver. She makes more money than me, but I've saved more. We want to move in together, but I'm scared that our money differences will cause problems. What are you afraid will happen if you move in together without changing the way you both treat money?
I'm afraid that our opposing views on it will create friction and more arguments.
Like what?
Well, I mean, arguments around like money. I tend to probably ask a lot about it because she'll have something new and I'm like, oh, where'd you get that?
Mhm.
Oh, how much does that cost? And just the way she answers, I know she's like, oh, shut up, it's my money.
Give me an example from the last few months. What's something that you... All right, so you asked a question. And Cree, does it work?
No.
No. I love human nature. Something doesn't work for literally decades. And people go, you know what I think I'll do? I'm going to do it for another 20 years. That'll get them. It's really weird. All right. April, what's it like to get these questions from Cree?
I don't love it. I tend to hide purchases and I don't like it. It feels like micromanagement, which I don't love.
What role is each of you playing in that conversation? Cree, what is your role?
It's like the authoritarian.
Well, authoritarians don't ask questions. They just...
Oh, okay. I guess I'm like the granny pointing the finger.
The granny. I like that. Like, what'd you do that for? You know, we have flour in the pantry. Why'd you go buy that? Okay, I like that. And April, what's your role?
I'm definitely on defense. I'm like the little kid
Nice.
who, is sneaking around trying to do stuff.
Yeah, I can see like arms crossed, like shoulders up, playing small.
Mhm.
I don't think she wanted to go as much as I did because she had some other financial obligations. I do feel like time like that is a priority, so I put pressure on her.
How did you do that?
I think maybe guilt. Do I guilt you?
Yeah, it was a little bit of guilt. And you're putting things in perspective, like,
Okay, hold on. I want to hear from April.
okay.
Okay, and I definitely feel like I'm emotional. I'm usually
Go
really
to France.
We were driving back to my hometown and I think for the last hour we didn't talk to each other.
Why is that, Cree? What do you remember?
I had already expressed that, I had a lot of trips already that I had taken for the year. So I was like, France really isn't in the budget for me. And then so when she was like, well, when we go to France, I was like, well, I didn't even say I was going to France.
Mhm.
And she was like, well, why wouldn't you be going to France? Like, that's a trip that I want to take with you. And, why wouldn't you be going? And I was like, well, again, I hadn't really planned and budgeted for that. I think I kind of went off and I was like, I don't really want to go. I don't even want to go. And she was like, well, then if you don't want to go, then you shouldn't go. And then we just kind of went in our separate corners.
How did you end up deciding to go?
I don't like seeing her sad. I wanted to go.
You with the two of you.
I guess the problem is we don't agree. Oh, I don't agree with how she spends money, I guess I should say.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't agree with how she wants to hoard money and not live life.
Live life.
Live life. Life is short. Tomorrow's not promised to either one of us.
But I don't want us to be 65 and looking at each other like, well, we got $30 between us.
And I don't want to be 65 like, man, I wish I had gone on that trip or done that thing.
And there we are.
Finally, we are getting some real
Net worth is $350,000. April, your income is $192,000. That's a lot of money. And you have $0 in savings and in fact, a negative $30,000 net worth. What do you both think about that?
That's the root of the problem.
Trips? You still get to buy stuff. What if you just don't?
I think the big root of my issue is I don't really have an issue with my money and how I manage it. Like, I still have a roof. I still have utilities. I still live an okay life. How do you get people to change who don't see a problem?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get April to change when she doesn't really see a problem.
It's extremely honest. I really appreciate that. Cree, what do you feel when you hear that?
Yeah, you're right. Everything's separate right now, but say we got married and then I owe what? I have $379,000 in debt on top of my 133. So then say something happens to her, she's the big earner. We're going to be in a world of hurt, you know? Like my salary is not going to be able to take care of all that.
What's the punchline of this sentence? So therefore, what?
So therefore, it scares me to think about that situation.
That's it? It scares you? You mentioned in your application that you've been married for 24 years, and you said something that really caught my eye. You said, I want to separate our finances. In fact, I am so upset that I suggested we combine them 4 years ago. Why do you feel that way?
I feel like we spoke better or related better when the finances weren't combined. I feel like we are both like all in the account all the time. Like it'll be like, well, why is there a $7.95 charge? And he'll ask me, well, did you go to the spa? You know what I mean? Like part of it is taking away the autonomy of the other person. And so it feels like I'm monitoring an adult. That's not fair for me to try to be his mother. Originally, we did have separate accounts, and then we had a joint account for bills.
Mm-hmm.
About 4 years ago, I was like, we just need all the paychecks to go into one account, and that way we can monitor and get control over our finances. And then what I saw was out of control, and so it stressed me out.
Wow. Okay, I have lots to unpack there. Michael, what's your reaction to what Imani just said?
It seemed to be less complicated when they were separate because it was always like, well, I know certain things have to be taken care of, so I can't spend somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to make sure that the money was there. When it became a joint account, it's like, well, yeah, I can go here and buy this and buy that because there's money in the account.
Mm. Would you say that when you combined your accounts that the spending got sloppy?
Very, very sloppy.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. So
More for me.
you'll say, yes, I went to the spa, right?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And then what does he say?
Nothing.
Oh, so it's just a question like, hey, did you go to the spa? Did you buy this thing? That's it?
Yeah. And it usually comes when I'm asking him about, did you go to Best Buy again?
Oh, okay. Let me flip that then. So you asked, did you go to Best Buy? And then, Michael, what do you say to that?
I said, yeah, I went to Best Buy.
Okay. And then?
And I kind of leave it there.
Okay. And then how do you respond? Why am I doing this? Just have the conversation in front of me. Go ahead. Imani?
What's this 152 at Best Buy?
I went to Best Buy to buy some SSD drives for my computer.
Did you need more SSD drives?
Oh, I needed one with more capacity, so I bought one that was on sale, and I got a bigger.
But don't you have like 10?
Yes, I do. Well, most of them are filled up with different documents and data. So
Yeah, but that wasn't in the budget.
yeah, I know, but I'll get the money back in there.
How are you gonna get the money back in it? The budget is based on the budget.
Yeah,
You can't put the money back.
I'll make sure it gets back.
Okay.
Whoa. It kind of turned into like some kind of Inspector Gadget type of like Imani became the SSD investigator. You know, are you sure? How many terabytes are we talking about? I was like, I don't really think that's what we were going for here. You know, I get the sense maybe like, I don't think you're an SSD investigator. And then we had Michael, who quickly was kind of like you could kind of see the tone, Michael. It was a bit of like a young boy who's got caught doing something. And it was like, yeah, I did go there. No further explanation. Just going to stop and hope that nobody pays attention. And then I'll put the money back. What's that?
Again, it's a very boyish sort of answer. You know what I mean? We're talking about a grown man here.
Basically, that's how our conversation kind of go.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
That's why I'm
right.
here.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why we're here too, because it's like the same conversation. Either she's gonna say, "Oh, that's it. I had enough," or she's gonna say, or she's just gonna tune out and do her own thing.
24 years married.
Yeah.
Money, would you agree? The stakes are pretty high.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't keep doing this. I refuse because, he's at the point now where he should be able to retire, but he can't because I cannot financially do all of this by myself, right? And I'm at the age, there's a pretty significant age difference between us. I'm at the age where I want to look at early retirement. Like he's already at retirement. Like I want to look at early retirement. I don't want to work till I'm 75. I don't. I don't want to do that. And I also want us to be able to travel and live our rich lives. And at this age, I thought we'd already be there, right? Like I feel like everything I'm behind. Like we're behind because, I know you're not supposed to look at other people and other people's lives, but we know too much to be in this situation. Like this is just dumb and frustrating. And I kick myself and I'm mad at myself because I feel like the loss of control got us here. Like growing up, I was known to be so cheap that I pinched the copper off a penny. That's what my mama used to say, right? Like I knew where everything was. I never went into debt and all of that stuff. And then, the last several years, it's just been out of control. And I'm so sad about it.
Okay. Are you angry?
Very.
Who are you angry at?
He actually just told me yesterday that I wasn't going to receive any money this month because of the money that I went over budget is fully coming out of this month.
I want you to be satisfied with what you get for that money.
I don't think he trusts me at all, and it makes me not trust myself.
If she blows through all of her money, then she's going to blow through all of my money too quickly.
My wants never go away, and if I don't have access to it, I just hope that he'll give in.
I would like to face no financial hardship, yes.
You make $28,000 a month. What hardship?
He always thinks like worst case scenario, and I just don't think that that's healthy.
I will never, or I will rob banks and do what I got to do to not put my family through what I'm through.
I hope that he understands me and my feelings, and that at the end of it, I get what I want.
I want her to know how to control her spending, but without being at that point yet, the second best thing that I could hope for is that she allows me to control it.
Edward and Ellen are in their 30s. They just moved back to Hawaii, her hometown, with a toddler and a new baby due any day now. They flip houses. They're high earners. They live in what most people would consider to be paradise. Everything sounds pretty good, right? But as you will soon hear, their different worldviews on money are driving a wedge between them. He thinks their money problem is strictly a numbers issue. She knows they have a lot of money, and she's confused why they fight over it. Why can't they both spend more time?
Is that she doesn't put a time parameter on how long it takes to make the money. So she is more frivolous in her spending.
I think that there is always actually wiggle room, that there's more money. I don't take it super serious because I just think that there's more than he's leading on.
Okay.
And it's probably not very respectful of me, but that's how I feel. I had a hospital birth with my first. And after that experience, I really wanted to have a home birth for my second. Once we moved back to Hawaii, I thought this would be the perfect place to do it. My family's here. There's a very experienced midwife that does it on island, and it's not cheap, especially when you already have health insurance and can just have it cost nothing out of pocket at the hospital. But he definitely left the opportunity for me to decide.
Ask him, as if I'm there.
Babe, I really want to have a home birth. Can you support me? A lot of pressure for me to make that kind of decision for our family. when I know the money could be going towards other things. And now it just feels like I'm being selfish to spend that kind of money because I want a different experience.
Those are the kinds of decisions that I make with, most of the stuff in our life every day. And, they're not always easy. So
How would you analyze the dynamics of what happened in that conversation?
definitely parent-child.
Okay.
She's coming and asking for permission, and I say, yeah, go ahead, make the decision, and she's second guessing and she feels bad about it. And she's looking to me as the person that's in charge of everything, and I'm letting her look at me that way, and I'm taking that that leadership role.
Okay.
I see it totally differently.
Tell me.
I see it as, yeah, I do tell him often that it feels like he's my father in ways where I'm asking permission, and it doesn't feel good because I know that we've gotten to where we are financially because of the both of us. And I feel like every time I ask for anything, no matter if it's more face lotion, I have to.
Ideal outcome from our conversation. And your answer was, I'd like to be less stressed about our money, and I'd like her to be a little more stressed about it. Tell me more about that answer.
I want her to worry, definitely not as much as me, right? But definitely a little bit more. I want her to say, hey, this thing that we might not necessarily need, that I just wanted spur of the moment, is going to cost, an hour or two of, our life to be able to get.
What does that word worry mean?
I don't see those numbers.
Mhm.
And I know that he is so good at saving and not overspending that sometimes he'll say to me, we make around this amount. And I'm like, oh, whoa. Well, in that case, I just start thinking of things I want to buy. But usually he's like, we can't afford that. Don't get the $5 subscription, to whatever TV streaming service. So yeah, I feel very confused about what money we actually have.
What do you say?